Dad, this is an interesting little quirk of the Super Bowl. I feel like for the last 10 years, the NFL has been tripping over itself to find the next Kyle Shanahan, the next Sean McVay, the next play caller to lead their team as if nothing else matters. You got to have the best offensive play caller. Well, yesterday, Sean Payton lost. Sean McVay lost, and the two coaches in the Super Bowl are defensive coaches, Mike Vrabel, Mike McDonald. What do you think about that?
Well, let's look at some of the recent hires. Who got hired in the Ravens?
Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator from the Chargers under Jim Harbaugh.
Okay. Tell me some other hires.
Robert Saleh went to Tennessee.
Again, a defensive coach.
Yeah, Jeff Hafley went to Miami.
Is he a defensive coach?
Yes, he is. He was the defensive coordinator for the Packers.
Okay, so what we're saying is the paradigm has changed.
Yep.
That the Kyle and the Kyle tree is dated.
Yep.
It's dated. That defenses have begun to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And what you need now is a defensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle is the wrong end. He's the wrong end. In fact, you might even make a case that it would have been better to keep Saleh and let Kyle go, according to what's happening in the league right now.
It seems like a defense-dominated league right now.
That's
scoring is down. Every team like yesterday had a killer defense except maybe the Rams.
Oh, I don't like that Shula. I don't like that Shula. I think he's a weakness there.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's interesting. You look at Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur. They're all very good play callers most of the time. Really good offensive coordinators. But they all seem to struggle with game management, clock management, when to challenge plays, like all the big picture stuff that doesn't involve sequencing your next drive. And you can see them on the sidelines thinking through their next drive while their defense is on the field. And you wonder, do offensive coaches just have a tougher time seeing the big picture during the game and reacting during the moment? Is that something that defensive coaches are a little bit more equipped for? I don't know, but it's an interesting trend.
I don't know the answer, but I'll tell you, I think defensive coaches are better organized and more disciplined than offensive coaches. I think so. I do. And I think that's why all these defensive guys are getting hired.
I agree. In addition, I think Kyle and Sean McVay have done such a good job of tutoring and mentoring and creating the next generation of offensive play callers in the NFL. There's a lot of them. And none of them are particularly great leaders, but they're good play callers. And so I think it's harder to find a cutting-edge defensive coach who can also lead and inspire. And it shouldn't be too hard for that guy to find a play caller who's loosely related to Sean McVay or not. I mean, what's interesting is DeMeco Ryans this year. He had an offensive coordinator from the Kyle Shanahan tree for 2 years. Bobby Slowick fired him, brought in a guy from the Patriots. Not that they went that much further, but that's DeMeco saying, you know what? That scheme's outdated. I'm going a different direction. And, Saleh is not hiring or hasn't hired an offensive coordinator from the Shanahan tree yet either.
Well, I hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
I want to tell you what the Shanahan tree is good at. I'm not being ironic. I'm not joking. Getting good press.
Yep.
Kyle, LaFleur, McVay. Now, McVay deserves it to a certain extent. When people talk about Kyle, they talk about him as if he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
As if he's a genius.
Who revolutionized the sport.
Yeah. He didn't revolutionize shit. What he did is he copied his father's offense.
Yes.
He is a carbon copy coach. And when innovative thinking is required, he can't do it because he only knows his system.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets screwed. When he faces a team like Seattle, which has a good defense, but not that great, but sort of understands him, he's lost because his system doesn't work. If the guy in New England, the offensive coordinator, what's his name?
Josh McDaniels.
He was in a Super Bowl where it wasn't working, and he called his team together and said, we're going to change everything right now, and he did it mid-game, and they won. Yep. Kyle could never do that in a million years. He would stick to his system.
Correct. And lose.
McDaniel said, it's not working. My ego is not involved. I want to win the goddamn game. And he changed. Bill Walsh, he had things he preferred, but he was player oriented. Get me. One time he said to me, Iggy, and he had never talked to me like this when he retired, and George was the coach. And Bill could be pricky sometimes, but I had never talked to him like this. So he was retired, and he said, I look at the 49ers now. He says, Lowell, where's the fucking running back? That's what he said to
Mhm.
me. And I thought, boy, he had never talked to me like that. Now I was getting to know Bill because he wasn't the coach anymore. He says, where's the fucking running back? Meaning, I need players.
Yep.
I don't need a system.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up Josh McDaniels because to me, I think that's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Everyone would acknowledge that Josh McDaniels is a good offensive coordinator who's a horrendous head coach.
Can't
That's an
do it.
archetype. There's an archetype. The guy who's really good at figuring out what to call and how to make the adjustment and how to score a touchdown, but can't lead a team, can't be a head coach, can't win that way. That's Josh McDaniel. And I think Kyle's clearly a better head coach than McDaniel. I mean, he was an utter failure multiple times, but he's lacking as a head coach. And I think McVay is too. I think LaFleur is too. And these guys were supposed to have like revolutionized, taken over the sport the last 10 years, but all they have to show for it is McVay's one Super Bowl victory. One. That's it. Kyle went twice and lost. McVay went twice, won once. LaFleur's never going to make it. McDaniel just got fired. It seems like it's kind of like the sun setting on their day.
Yeah. And LaFleur should have been fired. They're going
Yep.
nowhere with him.
He should have been fired. They're going nowhere with him. And I like what
Yeah.
you said. The Niners probably should have kept Robert Saleh. You could have kept Robert Saleh and found another guy to call plays that knows the system. Clay Kubiak knows the system and can call plays. Dude, Gary Kubiak must have 18 kids. They keeps producing. It's not that hard. Thank God for Gary.
Hey, Iggy, I want an offensive coordinator who doesn't know the system.
Yep. It's about time to go in a different direction. Yeah.
I don't want the system.
Yep. The
I
system
don't want
produced
to.
9 points in 8 quarters against the Seahawks. It's time to go a different direction.
Yeah, could we linger on 9 points?
Yeah.
No touchdowns.
0.
Yeah. No
Hard to do.
touchdowns.
No.
They had their quarterback. They had their elite quarterback. They pay a lot of money to be elite. They have their elite running back. They pay a lot of money to be elite. They didn't get jack. No touchdowns in 8 quarters. Iggy.
And this is supposed to be an offensive team with an offensive coach and a franchise quarterback. And you're
Yeah.
begging Gus Bradley and Nick Bosa to save you.
Yeah.
So I think
So,
that leads us
Iggy,
to our last go ahead.
No, hold on. You prefer Schneider up in Seattle to John Lynch down here?
I don't even think they have the same job.
Okay, tell me.
I think John Schneider is not just a general manager, but like a great one, a future Hall of Fame one. And I wouldn't even call John Lynch a general manager. He's a face man. He's a PR guy. He talks well. He represents the organization. It speaks for Kyle, but I don't really understand what he's in charge of, if he is in charge of anything.
Okay, so you can't compare him to Schneider because they're doing different jobs.
Yeah, like I said, Schneider grew up, cut his teeth under Ron Wolf. He took the actual traditional path to being a GM. John Lynch played the sport, was an announcer, got the job. It's a whole different thing. It's not a personnel guy. Like if you wanted to say, hey, who's a good player and who isn't, I would really want to know what John Schneider has to say. I really wouldn't put too much stock in John Lynch's opinion.
I would ask John about strong safeties.
Yeah. Although the Niners safeties aren't particularly good.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, I prefer Schneider. And I want to say another thing. You say that Lynch is a face man. He looks great. His hair is always impeccable. You look like he gets a haircut once a week. And his clothes, and he's in good shape. He must work out.
Nice watch.
He has a nice watch.
Yeah.
You look at this guy, Schneider, he looks like he might have crawled out of the hamper.
Yep.
He couldn't care less.
Needs to get a haircut, needs to shave, probably needs to drop a few pounds. But it's like, you know what? I'm the best. Give me a break.
Like I'm not here to charm you. I'm here to make a good team. So in that regard, I compare them 1-to-1.
Yep. I like that. And then there's Mike McDonald, who is also not there to charm you. He doesn't seem off-putting and confrontational, but he's not exactly dynamic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Except as a coach.
good coach.